Private investigator Paul O'Sullivan believes that Deputy President David Mabuza may have some questions to answer relating to his tenure as Agriculture MEC in Mpumalanga in 2008. He's been accused of being somehow involved in fraudulent land claims involving hundreds of millions of rands. O'Sullivan joins me on the line from London now. Thanks so much for your time on The Full View this evening. So normally the investigation of crimes is the purview of state agencies such as the police, the National Prosecuting Authority and the like. So how do you come in on investigating matters such as this one over those land claims in Mpumalanga?
Well, Forensics for Justice is a charity. We were set up to investigate corruption linked to government and government agencies or state-owned companies. So it's not a case of us taking over these functions. What we have done, in fact, in 2015 is we've opened a criminal docket in respect of land claims that took place in the Mpumalanga region, more specifically the Bud Plus Valley. Now, we analysed a number of the land claims and we found that they were all fraudulent. And it came to be a fact that monies were paid out, large sums of monies, hundreds of millions of rand, for land claims in Mpumalanga. And at the time those claims were done, unfortunately for him, David Mabuza was the MEC for Agriculture, and he signed off on some of those payments. And we're saying the matter needs to be properly investigated. If it's not investigated, we've raised the issue at higher levels. We've also spoken to AfriForum with a view to carrying out a private prosecution.
Talk to us about the reason that you decided to look specifically into land claims in Mpumalanga, and then what did you find when it came to that Blood Plus land claims, and why was that problematic? Okay, so
we have a broad base. We look at projects which are in the public interest. I fund the charity myself with my own funds, although we have a number of people who do make small donations. The cost of running the charity runs into millions of rand a year, so I fund it myself with my own funds. And I therefore decide where we will go and where we will look. But most of our projects are based on tip-offs. So we have a hotline, it's 0800 118 118. And if people phone in, they'll give us information. We have a website, forensicsforjustice.org, and we receive representations, and from that we start looking at it. And in this particular case, we had a number of tip-offs that there were fake land claims going through, and we were able to prove that the land claims were indeed fake. Now, one would have to give consideration to the Land Restitution Act. The Act was very specific about the period at which the cut-off date for land claims should start from, and it was a date in 1916. Now, any land that was bought or sold or taken over, for want of a better expression, prior to that date could not be subject to land claims. We took a specimen sample of 6 properties, which were farms, owned by white Afrikaans farmers in Mpumalanga, and they were sold as part of a land claim, land restitution settlement during the period between 2002 and 2005. And when we analysed those properties, we found that, in fact, the land in question had never been owned with title deeds issued to previously disadvantaged persons. The history of the land in question was that it was Swaziland land before the Pedis came along and pushed the Swazis out. And then the Swazis came back and they pushed the Pedis back up. And then in the 19th century, in 1850s and 1860s, the white Afrikaans people came along, the trekkers, and when they came along, the Swazis saw this as an opportunity, and they donated the land to Paul Kruger. Paul Kruger
Mr. O'Sullivan, I'm so sorry to interrupt. I think this is a conversation that needs much more time than it has right now. Unfortunately, Donald Trump, with his statement earlier on, has meant that our time is pushed out a bit, so we have to end there. I still wanted to speak more about the Deputy President, but also, to be fair, state that the response that his office gave when I contacted them earlier on, their response is as follows. The time limit that you've provided for the office of the Deputy President to respond substantively to the issue is not sufficient. In responding to your query, note that this matter is sub judice, and for this reason, the Office of the Deputy President is unable to comment. I think I will follow up on that story and give it the more time that it deserves. Thanks so much for your time on Full View this evening.